There's a comment in the YouTube chat here on the KCSN YouTube channel from Ben that asks, do these guys get fined for being late? And Ben, the answer to that is so obviously no, because we talk about the KCSN Foundation. This is not the charity that comes from KC Sports Network.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Because we'd be working for free, Seth? Are we there? Did we all arrive together?
I was more confused. I don't think Tucker expected you to roll to it so quickly. So I was more just like, and then nothing happened.
Yeah, I pulled the trigger quick on the cold open today because we've got a game to talk about! Now, I don't know if you could hear the asterisk there after the word game, which, of course, you check the notations.
Exhibition.
And it does say exhibition game, preseason. But look, the Chiefs have got to get on a plane and get to Jacksonville, and we can actually look forward to seeing some Chiefs players suiting up, perhaps for the first time for many of these rookies. And some of these guys we've seen before that may still have some things to prove. So, I don't know, guys. I am reaching middling levels of excitement on the preseason scale because there are a handful of guys I'm excited to see. I do not think, however, that Andy Reid saying that the starters will play a first quarter for the millionth consecutive season before they play one, maybe two drives, that hasn't really moved the needle for me.
It really is the best bit. And when Andy said it yesterday, I was standing next to Matt McMullen of Chiefs.com, and I whispered to him, "We're back. We're back." And McDowell said, "We really are." And I was like, "We're back." So yeah, of course Patrick Mahomes is going to play, 30 snaps in the first quarter of Saturday's game, and you're going to see so many routes from Travis Kelce that you should really not go on a date. You should not leave your house. You should stay on the couch. And honestly, for our audience and for every audience moving forward before Saturday, Josh, should we give the public service announcement in these interesting industrial times as it occurs for Saturday's preseason opener?
Yeah, I mean, I think this show is nothing if not a service to the public. So yeah, I feel like a PSA for the preseason is well deserved.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. All right, because I understand you don't want to go to the restaurant, and I've said this before. You don't want to go to the restaurant and get the smells and hear the sizzle of that steak and not get a slice. That's all Saturday is. Saturday is just one slice,
free smells.
Of
a Jimmy
perfect,
John situation.
Yeah, of a perfect steak that they give you one slice of, right? I don't know if it's filet mignon, it could be a ribeye, T-bone, whatever your preference is. You're going to hear the sizzle. You're going to smell it, but you want that bite. And the only way you can get that bite if you're in the metropolitan area of Kansas City is to get an antenna for your smart TV, because the game's not on local television.
So do you know for sure it is? I'm gonna check and see. So the game is on 38th the spot because NBC will not let the Olympics be preempted. So it would usually be on KSHB 41, our friends over there. So it's moving over to the sister station a few notches down. I would say it's nice to have an antenna for your smart TV or whatever. Anyway, I already had one. Nice to be able to have instant local access that way. But I have not done extra legwork on where the spot is in terms of the streaming local options. But channel 38 on your dial.
It's there. Now I love that. The Girl on Fire 25 says, well, Nate, listen on the radio like the rest of us. And I would love to, but per my job, I kind of got to see what it looks like on the television screen.
The film reviews don't hit nearly as hard when I You know, it really sounded like Kingsley Suamataia. I broke the streak. Suamataia had great protection on that throw. You could just kind of tell from the sound of it that Mahomes was dealing from a clean pocket. That it just doesn't hit quite as hard. Right. But no, I think NFL Plus usually live streams preseason games, so that's an option.
Not if you're in market. If you're in the Kansas City metropolitan area, go ahead and get yourself either a 1940s television or an antenna, okay? And as Tucker says here in our own chat, Tucker D. Franklin, the D stands for defensive tackle. There's no streaming delays, so obviously, you know, I'm a YouTube TV subscriber who can't get access to MLB Network, can't get access to like any highlights of the greatest baseball player who lives right now and Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, sure, but you know, it's going to be so interesting. And I've talked to Big Schaefer, obviously, Aaron Ladd, Mackenzie Nelson, everybody from, you know, Channel 41. Amazon, please bring this antenna to my house. Don't call Channel 41, okay?
Mick's email box is going to be a wasteland.
I
know what happens to him when things like this happen. He is going to get 10,000 personal emails asking why water polo is on TV instead of Chiefs Jags.
And water polo that's already been taped.
I thought that was happening. It's like Midnight in Paris, right?
Right. So again, I don't
actually. You can watch the movie Midnight in Paris on KSHB instead of the game because of the NBC rules.
I don't know why the Olympics on tape delay have to be on Kansas City television.
Well, if there's one reason
going on.
There is one reason, Nate, and I just retweeted. And so as we're recording this, the United States male basketball team has just entered. They just won a tough game against Serbia, I believe.
Yeah, about 2 hours ago. So
to enter into the gold medal conversation. Woo! Well, you know, time is a flat circle, Josh.
Even, yeah.
Right.
Yep. And this is my least favorite bit ever.
Bit?
And so
what we're trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is go to Seth's house, which is at such and such in Minnesota.
No, I was going to explain. So the reason the Olympics preempt everything is in these divisive times. Stop it, Nate. In these divisive times.
That's a divisive.
It's a very rare moment. Yes. We have a country that's divided on many, many, many issues.
Can't think of one.
But I read a tweet today. I really thought you were going to correct me and say a post because it's X now. We were doing a thing.
I don't care about.
You're correcting literally.
Seth, dead serious. That did not even strike me as being
it doesn't,
wrong because it's a tweet.
Screw Elon Musk. It's a tweet, Seth. And
so
keep going.
Someone tweeted out, KD, Braun, and Steph walking them down for those last 6 minutes is the closest we've been united as a nation in my entire adult life. And so this is the one time, the reason the Olympics are on your TV is because this is the one time we as Americans can stand up and say, oh yeah, we're the greatest country on earth. You don't believe us? You see those gold medals? You see that count? You see that count? You see the scoreboard? Come on, rest of the world. Get on our level. And that's the one time. All the rest, we're always going to be fighting each other. But you know what? Common enemies, not in wartime, because let's face it, peace is nice. Olympics. I cannot wait till they add football and Patrick Mahomes hangs 100. He's going to hang 100 on Britain in the gold medal, and we are all going to be standing on our roofs playing electric guitar with an American flag behind us while a bald eagle flies behind us, and that's why the Olympics are on your TV, baby. It's the one time we can all say, hey, you know what rules, America?
Hey, Josh, per Tucker D. Franklin, the USA has 103 medals. Okay, we are smoking people.
And anyone else have 103 medals? Hold on. Let me look at my desk. Do I see anyone with 103 medals? Hold on. China? Anywhere out there with the 2 billion people you have trying to stack the deck with your population? You know, you're packing the population so you can try to breed more people that can win the Olympics, and you still can't beat us.
but for real though, if you're gonna have a third child, let us know. I mean, it's packed out here, dog. It's packed.
It's so crowded.
It's so crowded. Hey, do you need a third? That's basically what the Chinese government is doing to lovely people. Now
well, more or less.
I tried to say it as nice as I could, Seth, they don't let you have the internet over there. So the best part in all of this is I was on my TV again watching tape delayed. They don't even call it synchronized swimming. It's water acrobatics. Okay, and they showed us the American team, and I said, "My goodness, that is incredible." They are swimming. They are in sync. Cool. They are jumping. They are lifting one another while swimming. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And again, it's on tape delay, so I could obviously Google and look at the results. But why do I want that? NBC needs my eyeballs. So NBC did one of the most ridiculous things, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, you won't see your Kansas City Chiefs on a local NBC affiliate on Saturday. So we go to the scores judge, and ding, 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 ding. The Americans are in first place. Like,
what?
Right.
That's why.
Dude,
that's why.
Women. Look at these
There's
women.
Nothing.
Not even the eyeliner's wet, ho. And if you were not watching live, China won the gold medal. Hey, what the hell? What? Huh?
Obviously rigged. Come on.
What?
I mean, let's be honest.
They didn't even show that. I was like, so if they beat us, can you show me the routine? No, dog. We just blazing through. Hey, do you want to watch another 400 men's race again? We'll show him. We'll show Quincy 18 times. So look, man, come on. I just want to see what China got. You know, China. They looked very happy. But they also looked very confident that they won the gold medal after their routine. Yet I didn't even see it because NBC was like, "Why would we show you that? We are trying to industrialize you in patriotism." And look at our girls. Our girls at one point were first place. Footnote: China won. But anyway, let's go to Steve Kornacki. Hey, Steve, where can we win another gold medal? Steve says, "You know where? In basketball. Basketball. We will
and let's
not
face
lose."
It, that counts. You could lose every other event in the Olympics and win the male basketball, and you're like halfway. That's like 50-50, right? That's like half the Olympics. I could be wrong. I haven't done the math. Similar to how I see in the comments. No, I did not do the math on 2 billion people in China. I'm almost certain I'm wrong about that. But look, I don't have to fact check that. You know why? Josh, do you know why? It's because I live in the greatest country in the world. Count the medals. I don't have to check my math. Make me check my math. You can't even make a switch to the metric system. You think you're going to make me check my math? You can't.
Hey, our best sprinter ran today with COVID. And you know what? He got third anyway because another American got first.
1.4 billion according to Google. I'll fact check it. You can make me fact check it. It's okay. I can't believe people still think that I am the rambunctious engine of this show. Speaking of American exceptionalism, fellas, let's talk about the man from Missouri named after the city he's from, the keystone of today's episode, St. Louis Rees-Zammit. I believe he was born under the arch. I believe that he is as homegrown as American excellence gets.
We're not selling our land to China. I'm going to be governor, and Louis Rees-Zammit is going to make this roster. Nate Taylor for governor. Okay? Do I sell my land to China? Hell no. Am I a capitalist? How much they offering? Did I say in that ad I wasn't going to sell no land to China? Damn.
The fun thing about political ads is they cease to exist the moment after voting is concluded, and you cannot be held accountable to anything in them.
Right? No.
It's a great thing.
Did I say that? Did I say I wouldn't sell my land to China? Did you see the amount of zeros though?
Oh, hey, I really tried to get us out of that hole, but Ice Pyro makes a great point. Nate, have you been watching Gold Zone? Is that part of this for you? Or are you just there for prime time?
I'm mostly there for prime time based on the time travel. Going back.
I watched like 15 hours of Gold Zone this weekend, and it was the
best
thing that's happened to me in months.
It looks incredible. Look, I don't want to get too much into cocaine land because obviously, that is reserved for early September. But yeah, I just love the fact that like go get an antenna so that you can watch your hometown football team.
So you can watch this Welsh rugby player take the field in Jacksonville. We are going to need you to get a digital antenna that you can plug in.
Get that antenna so you can watch Louis Rees-Zammit maybe return a kickoff. Maybe.
God, if he doesn't, can you imagine? This speaking of digital content that should cease to exist the moment after its relevance. If he doesn't return a kick, Tucker should delete this episode from the feed, because that's what it's not all it's about. But it is the first thing that we wanted to talk about some today. Because Nate, you've got a story coming to the Athletic Times in the great state of New York. It's on the way. Last I checked, it wasn't up yet, so I have not read it. And Seth hasn't read it. For a myriad of reasons. So let's, and also he's clearly, for me, one of the 5 players I'm most excited to see on Saturday. I have to imagine that's probably true for all of us. Not one of the most important, Seth. I can see your little eyebrow wiggle of, I'm too good to want to see Louis Rees-Zammit in a football uniform. I'm really excited about Hunter Norzad.
Did Jazz tell you to talk about my eyebrows?
No,
she said that my eyebrows are too expressive.
You have a very expressive face, and there's no hair to hide it.
Right. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, I think one of the more impressive things about Louis Rees-Zammit is you can kind of already tell, and this is going to be a theme throughout the story on The Athletic, but like he is a quick learner. And you can trace that all the way back to when he was a prodigy in rugby. And some of those skills, some of that determination, some of that work ethic is translating to the NFL game. It's going to be I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it again. And this is a poor comparison, ladies and gentlemen, but you've played probably basketball. You've probably shot a ball into a hoop at some point in your life. You maybe have played soccer, at one point in your life. I played football in high school. I was not good, okay, but I have played it. Louis Rees-Zammit is about to do something that is truly commendable and also mind-boggling.
So
it's
insane.
Mind-boggling. He's never, ever played organized football, ever. And he will do it on Saturday in the NFL, okay? And I don't know how it's going to go, but whether it's extremely impressive or it's extremely embarrassing, I cannot stress how much he needs to be commended for getting to this point. Because again, as I'm writing the sentence on the page, I'm just like, I know that's a fact. It's still jarring to write it and to read it out loud that he's never taken a snap of organized football at any point in his life, and he's trying to make the Kansas City Chiefs roster. So
the world champions.
Yes, I hope he plays the majority of the second half. If I were Dave Tobe, and I think this is partly Dave Tobe's message to us, he should be back for every kickoff return because that is clearly his best chance to make a case for him to make the roster alongside Nico Remigio. But it's been a training camp that has been diligent more than like even appealing. There was so much sex appeal going into training camp, and I think what we found about Louis Rees-Zammit is there's a lot of substance there beyond
a lot more than twisted steel and sex appeal.
That's right,
but definitely those two things too.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, look. I love that like some people in the organization are like, don't let this man get good because he's gonna fly off the rack. Okay. Don't let this man be good. But also, he is a lot more substance than even the buzz, even the hoopla that came with him once he joined the team.
So that's fascinating, Nate, because I have seen a few of the clips that Tucker has tweeted out from the KCSN account and everything, but and some of that, I don't even know if we ended up really talking about these on the show, but a couple of past pro reps, a couple of the early ones went, that's a rugby player that's learning about pad level. And then a few days later, there was a clip, might have been PJ Green, I don't know, he was tweeting out a bunch, that was nicely voice tracked by one Nate Taylor. And one of those reps, LRZ got a little bit of leverage and a little bit of a turn of the rusher, and I heard that octave of there you go. So, but I also have missed, I imagine, so many smaller scale reps that didn't get to highlight territory. So I'm actually a little surprised to hear you say that there has been as much substance as there has been. What makes you say that from his training camp performance? What does the growth look like to this point?
It's both little, but I also think it gives you a greater chance to project what he could be years, maybe, months, maybe even a year from now, right? Mm-hmm. So a small thing is that, like, he clearly can grasp and understand the playbook, right? There are things that he already realizes and understands that, again, as you sort of think it through your mind, you're like, that's already impressive. Again, that he's never played anything, but he's had no real issues with, like, the playbook. A lot of the things he's had to work on, of course, is technique, most notably, running with the ball a certain way, obviously trying to get his pad level correctly. How do you use your hands and your feet to synchronize to where you can be a good pass protector or be someone who doesn't lose instantly, which is what all of us would do if we went out there. We would lose in a millisecond. And I am so aware of that because I watched Lewis and I'm like, oh, he lost in 2 seconds. That's impressive because I would lose in 0.5. Yeah. So one thing I would say that I think goes a long way, we all knew he was tough based on his rugby background, but football tough is completely different. And I've seen him get hit. I've seen him get surprised by the skill set and the speed of it all. Obviously, there's a conditioning element that Andy Reid puts at a premium in training camp. He's got some nicks. He's got some bruises. He's felt some things. And he has not raised his hand one time. He gets annoyed when the training staff goes near him after a rep and get out of my face,
my gorgeous face. Get
out of my face. So there's things I can say about him from just a willingness and a toughness standpoint. And again, it's different positions and everybody's got a different sort of path. But like Kadarius Toney has missed practices. Louis Rees-Zammit hasn't missed a single practice at any point since he joined the team. And that has gone a long way in the locker room. He is obviously someone who's very confident. But I think something that also has come across is he's not been arrogant at any point in this. And I think his teammates have sort of galvanized around him. Lastly, and this point should be noted, he can really catch the football. And it's one thing to catch the ball in a non-padded practice in June or May than to do it in pass, to run routes, and to make some of the second-tier linebackers not look athletic enough to stay with him if the Chiefs were to ever pass him the ball. We'll hopefully see if that occurs in the preseason. But he's got the tool set, and he appears to have the mindset and the diligence, and now it's just how quickly can he get from, again, never playing a game before to he's a full-fledged, capable NFL prospect.
He's Vince Papale.
But see, right? Vince played before. Vince played the football game before.
Just less Philadelphian, and more Welsh.
More Welsh.
And stuff.
Yeah. More sexy.
I don't know. I've seen the movie. Well, I suppose that's Mark Wahlberg. So
that's Mark Wahlberg. That ain't Vince Papale. I'll tell you that.
I am excited for everyone who's
okay. Great. I wasn't sure the name. I think I've seen Invincible.
Have you seen the movie?
First name reference there. I had no idea.
Clue.
No clue.
I I just think what I would really like to see is him get targeted or have a good return or something like that, to where they do some kind of, close up as he takes off his helmet coming to the sideline, just to see like one of my favorite things over the course of the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift budding romance, as it was a budding romance. Now it's like a year-long romance or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, one of my favorite things was very non-sports adjacent women, largely, discovering the existence of Travis Kelce and discovering, it was like, we talked about it last week, it was like the comeback of like the dude. And like discovered like some of the comments, most of which were so profane I could never repeat, like underneath pictures of him and stuff, were like, holy crap, or some version of it. And
Did Seth just unplug his mic because he was gesticulated? Seth, did you get too excited and unplug your microphone? What happened there? Yeah, I mean something.
Totally.
Nate, you're with me, right? Okay, yeah. Seth got so excited by thinking about how handsome Travis Kelce is that Seth just unplugged himself.
Hey Seth, I was face to face with Louis Rees-Zammit yesterday.
I will buy both of you guys a mic arm if money's the problem.
It was tough. It was tough. It was tough to stay concentrated. What's the next question I was going to ask this man? Goodness gracious. Oh yeah, your dad.
Still not working, Seth. Nope. Something. Seth is gone.
I'm Seth Keysor.
I've been doing this show for so long. You got the two shot, but you're still Seth Keysor.
I'm Seth Keysor. So as I wrote in the newsletter a couple days ago.
Actually, can you just read it, please?
As I wrote the newsletter, I'm looking forward to watching Louis Rees-Zammit, but I'm more interested in, Kingsley Suamataia, Jared Wiley, Jaden Hicks, a little bit of Deneric Prince. What does he look like in year 2? I mean, I get he's attractive, but
I just don't see it,
I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Yeah.
And neither does my wife.
maybe.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. And so what I was going to say about LRZ is that I'm excited for that aspect of things. I'm excited for a kid who hasn't played organized football. I'm a purist. The interesting stories, they're fun. I'm always like, yeah, but is it going to affect the team? And
it's
so
pretty weird for Andy Reid to spend a decent amount of time working in a guy that he didn't think had a chance to. That's what I keep coming back to. That's the thing that pushes up against my skepticism a little bit.
Just one kick return. Just one. That's all we're asking Saturday, Louis. It's just one memorable kick return.
So before
everything
Seth,
else is a bonus.
Before Seth gives us 15 minutes on Mike Caliendo, Nate, what is your view on, as Tucker phrased it in the rundown, LRZ's path to the roster?
Yeah.
What do you think the angle is right now? Or the likelihood before the first game action?
He's not on the roster right now, and I think even he realizes that. But he still had. Mike Caliendo's going to start at left guard on Saturday.
I'm sorry. What's his path?
I'd be shocked to see Joe Tooney out there in pants in a uniform. Anyway, no, I think Louis knows that he's still got quite the I don't want to say a mountain, but he's still got quite the daunting task in front of him. He knows he's not on the roster right now. Even the team's unofficial depth chart made it appear that way. He's even not, he's like the third kickoff returner. He's obviously pretty far down the running back depth chart. Do the Chiefs have 3 running backs? I guess we'll find out on Saturday. I guess. But his path is one highlight that is undeniable, that makes the investment worth it and makes you want to continue to keep applying resources to that investment. So, I think it's really cool. His parents are going to be in the stands.
That's awesome.
As I've written before, his father played American football in the United Kingdom. Their love of football has grown since then. He used to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch NFL regular season games. Now he's going to be on the actual NFL field. He might be the first player this season to touch the ball for the Kansas City Chiefs if they are the team that returns the first kickoff on Saturday. If again you could watch it through archaic technology.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the path is still quite a bit of ways. But what he's at least shown in training camp is that he definitely deserves a practice squad spot, and his progress, from now and until until cutdown day on August 27th, is fascinating enough to track because he's proven that he can at least hang right now in training camp without us seeing him, under the bright lights just yet.
So that's kind of the like special feature of this, but we have not talked about who our like top candidates are on either side of the ball. So let's do that. I want to put a pin in Deneric Prince since you already mentioned his name, but Nate, if you were to give me one guy on the offensive side of the ball, who would you begin with that you're excited to see removing LRZ from the conversation now?
Yeah, I would remove him and Kingsley Suamataia. Everybody knows about
Slam dunk, sure.
Yeah, everybody knows about him. And by the way, he's had a very good camp. He's also gotten better as camp has moved on as well. I that's a great question. I would, he's already on the roster. So let me give of guys who are already on the roster. I do want to see how the Chiefs use Marquise Brown for the first time, how they want to, use him in whatever it is, 1 or 2 series. And then I think of guys who are trying to make the roster. Crazy to say, but there's a fullback on the unofficial depth chart.
There is.
And Carson Steele, he needs snaps, kids. He needs reps. I can't believe that Andy Reid, in all his glory, after winning the Super Bowl without having a fullback at his disposal, said, go find me one. And they did. And he's kind of on the roster. He's like right at the bubble line. So the question then becomes, I know Carson Steele can block. I know he can be a decent fullback based on the skill set and the versatility he offers. Does he have any juice as an actual running back in the system against, NFL players? That'll be the question. But, he'll be fine on special teams. But, yeah, I'm sorry, KL368. Andy Reid really wants to bring the fullback back. He really does. It's crazy. But Carson Steele is who I'm going to add.
There's a specific way of using a fullback in the modern NFL, like the use check kind of brand, I guess, that could be useful. Seth, do you have anything that we certainly didn't show prep on this one? Do you have any thoughts on the resurgence of the fullback?
Not unless it's someone who is a really...
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
And to open up the entirety of the offense, it only works if you do it that way.
Great point, Seth. Let's go ahead and say that the other guy on the offense that you're excited to, that might be confusing for audio listeners because I didn't actually say let's take a break. Tucker just dropped the hammer on you, and then you were still talking on the other side of it. And that was not an error with your with your podcast app, audio only voyeurs. I'm interested in Carson Steele as much as I'm interested in the entire bottom half of the running back depth chart at this point.
Sure.
You know what? I'll go ahead and I'll call for Deneric Prince now to ask you this, Nate. It seems like he's pretty clearly in Clyde missed another practice a couple of days ago, and obviously Pacheco has been doing a lot of stuff that's pretty fascinating. But is Prince like pretty handily the next man up there in that group at camp to this point?
If Deneric Prince has a poor preseason, I don't really know what the answer is. Other than to trade for somebody or to sign somebody in free agent. Now, look, I think Deneric Prince has been very good in training camp, so hopefully you see real growth between what he was in preseason last year to this year. Now, remember, last year they had LaMichael Pirine, which I think kind of stunted Deneric Prince's growth. But he's not on the roster now. So this is really, there are no other candidates. I mean, Deneric Prince is the running back 3. You know what you get from Clyde. Obviously, Pacheco's your starter. We talked about Lewis, but he's, I think, more in like, special teams category, more so than offensive category right now. And I just haven't seen a ton from the other guys that has been impressive or noteworthy, to be honest. So I know there's other players in that group, but this is really his job to win. And I think he understands that. And I think the Chiefs really do want to keep 3 running backs. I don't know about 4. Again, it would take some unusual circumstances. Maybe something would have to go on with the tight end position. But yeah, I do think Deneric Prince needs to get, a handful of snaps maybe in the second quarter. Because I don't know why you would really even play Clyde Edwards-Helaire much. I don't know why you would play Pacheco much outside of maybe the first 2 series. So I think much of the first half should be trying to evaluate Deneric Prince as a pass protector, and then, seeing how many ways you can get him the ball before halftime.
Seth, who do you like on the offensive side? Tell me why Griffin McDowell is your one to watch.
I think it's interesting.
I don't even know who he looked like, y'all. Come on, man. I don't even know I have no idea what he looked like. Who he looked like.
Bringing up Prince is interesting to me, simply because last year, between him and Pirine, Prince did not look like the better of the 2 running the ball. He's the better athlete, but he didn't, in the times that he got the ball, I didn't think he showed anything resembling the ability to set up blocks and follow them. And that was problematic. Honestly, it was like going back and watching Niall Davis run the ball. And I don't mean that like as a pot shot or anything. That's just what it looked like. That he would need some kind of, gap based straight through the hole. You're not guessing anything here. And there wasn't a lot of variance to his speed, right? That you just get the ball, run straight ahead as fast as you can. If there's a hole there, great. So I'm curious. I want to see that development because I just didn't see it last year. Besides him, you guys tossed aside Suamataia so quickly because it's obvious.
Talk about him.
But there's some things are cliches for a reason. Yeah, I mean, you really have right now, you've got 2 position battles going on in camp, right? You've got cornerback where, multiple.
Taylor said in The Athletic that there's only one now, but go ahead.
It's not a battle. It's already set. It's done.
Watson?
Listen to me, ladies.
No, Seth. No, wrong battle.
No, it's
yeah. No, I remember. I actually did read that. So I totally understand, but that's why it's so interesting to me that they've apparently seen enough in padded practices to basically say, nope, this is your job unless you lose it. And I think Morris struggling with some injury stuff is going to have something to do with that. Suamataia. It's so hard not to put that extra
Kingsley, you've proven it.
I'm so proud of myself, though. It's like the one name I've ever gotten right. Kingsley, his superior athleticism works a lot better with what Andy Reid likes his tackles to do in the run game. And just because Kingsley's a really good athlete doesn't mean he's not a powerful guy. He's super, and it was so hard to describe this during like the draft build-up process. It's like, man, he's well built. Like the way you describe offensive linemen always comes across not quite how you mean it. But it is what it is. It's like, oh man, he's just so well proportioned, everything's exactly where it ought to be. And it just is. Girth. Yeah, he's got girth, but in all the right places. Like these are not things, but they're all true things. Where for a guy who's clocks in at over 320, I want to say. He's a big dude, but he is
good for 320, dude. That's crazy.
He does, and it's just upper body, lower body. He's not overly proportioned one spot or the other, and that's kind of unusual. You don't usually got a little more upper body power, a little more lower body power, whatever. He's well proportioned, moves well.
The feet of a princess.
He's got good feet. He's got a good punch when he lands it right. His handwork was the big thing. So I'm really curious in his first live action. He's probably the first guy I'm going to write about because all 22 usually takes an extra day or two, whereas I can see the trenches day one. And so I'm excited to see him. In terms of Hollywood Brown, I would be excited, but I'm assuming we're not going to see much there. I think he's visited Mahomes multiple times in Texas. he's in a contract year. You like from the minute it all started, it's like, okay, this dude's locked in. They seem to plan on using him as their wide receiver 1. And so because of that, I don't expect to see much of him in the preseason game because I don't think he's a pro. He's been doing this a while, similar to like when they brought in Macklin way back in the day, right? You just didn't need to see a lot of him preseason because he picked up the system quickly. Everything I've heard about Brown sounds good. So I don't think we'll just be able to see much from him in preseason because he's probably going to be their wide receiver 1. If Rashee Rice isn't, and Rice has looked really good in camp and the things that I've seen, and it looks like he's worked on separating versus man, some of that route running stuff. His physical profile is Brandon Ayuk, just so people understand that. Like he's got the profile to where if he learns, he can separate if he gets his feet right. But anyway, because of that, it's Worthy. Like I'm Mr. All I'm doing is playing the hits over and over and over. I'm a top 100 radio station in the early 2000s where I'm playing the same stuff. You have heard, I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady 20 times in the last 2 hours, and that's just how it is.
Younger and younger.
Just like that. Yeah. When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move.
CEO, you don't have to CID. The things that Ludacris said, it's all nonsense, but man, it hits. It's timeless every single time. Like, I mean, when he did roll out, that was a heat check of ultimate proportion. Who is your housekeeper? What you keep at your house? And it sounded great. It's terrible. And it's terrible how great it was. Anyway, I'm playing the hits, the rookies, because Xavier Worthy, I've gone from, I liked his tape in college, but I assumed it's going to be the Andy Reid rookie treatment. But they keep treating him differently than they've treated other rookies. And is that just the social media team really pushing things forward? I
want to present you a take that I think is going to lead to another guy you want to talk about, by the way that this is ramping up. I think we're going to learn more about Jared Wiley on Saturday than probably any other rookie, because part of the thing with him has been how is he going to handle some NFL physicality? He's not going to get first team for 4 quarters physicality, but he's going to be playing real tight end, I have to imagine, in this game, right?
I would think so. And one of the things that he's shown in practices with pads is some physicality in his routes, where you just never know what kind of coaching guys are getting in college. And that's not college coaches are great, but they generally, they're coaching to win games. They're not necessarily always developing. It's the same in the pros too. Wiley played sometimes, he moves really well for a guy he's huge. He's a big tight end. But you could see him almost relying on that, on his explosiveness. And he moves pretty fluidly for his size. You could see some kind of reliance on that. And it's a lot to take a lot away from just 1 or 2 snaps. But watching him just chuck Drew Tranquil to the side, you can almost see like a learning process there. Like, oh, man, I'm pretty strong. Wow. Because Drew Tranquil is not an easy guy to toss aside, partly because he'll probably try to fight you afterwards during training camp. Like he just... people were asking for a nickname and I called him Drucifer, and I thought that's training camp. Drew Tranquil is Drucifer. He's out to fight you. So anyway,
I like it. I bet he doesn't, would be my guess.
Well,
it's a good nickname though. That's pretty good.
That's just training camp him. All year round, he's Drew Tranquil. During training camp practice, he's Drucifer.
I can live with that. You know how much of a glow up Drew Tranquil has had? He's now an advertising partner for Minsky's. I mean, what a glow up!
That is awesome, man.
He's got his own pizza now with Minsky's, but the tranquilizer. I mean, sure, Greg. Yeah,
I like tranquilizer too.
I'm excited to see what Wiley can do playing that kind of more physical role. What he does in Andy Reid's offense. What he looks like. His physical gifts stood out when he was in college. For a lot of guys, that doesn't translate, right? For some guys, it does. Chris Jones, first preseason game, you're like, that's going to translate. I just think Travis Kelce and please don't. This is not a player-to-player comparison.
You did
Jared Wiley and Travis Kelce. It's not It's not. You can't anticipate a young guy becoming the greatest tight end route runner to ever breathe and one of like the top 5 route runners to ever live. And Kelce was incredibly explosive. Wiley's really explosive. There's a difference there. You can't expect it, okay?
Former quarterback.
I hear what you mean, Seth. I can hear between the lines.
However, like with Kelce, when he caught that first slant, when he got healthy and went like 80 yards in a preseason game against the Bengals and outran a safety, you were like, whoa, that dude can move. That was back when they used to throw Travis Kelce these quick screens and he'd house them. He's got the skill set to where maybe it translates. And you should be able to see it right away. That's kind of, I'm actually writing about him right now, the people I'm watching for. And that's the thing I want to see with him is, what does it look like? I mean, just simple eye test stuff with him, I think might be sufficient. If he doesn't pop, he doesn't pop. And then, okay, this is going to be a kind of a come along. But especially with where he's going to be likely playing against second and third teamers, he should pop with that physical skill set. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Fair enough. We'll see how he develops. To circle back to Xavier Worthy, they've treated him a little differently. There's two things that could really excite me about Worthy. One, if he only plays like one series and doesn't get a single target.
Oh,
I think you're gonna see that actually on Saturday.
That would make me like, oh,
what are you hiding? You
I don't think
devil.
I don't think they're gonna show anything with this.
And that's.
You're gonna see him out there just jog a little cross, like literally jogging. Yep. It's gonna be embarrassing.
They're only gonna line him up on the boundary. They're not gonna do a thing. They might give him a chance. Hey, why don't you go experience some press coverage on the boundary? Just see what you do.
Deshaun Jackson went for 62 and 912 in his rookie season.
And that's the comp, guys. Tyreek is not the comp. Deshaun Jackson, that's the comp. That's the ideal, right? And boy, would that be incredible. So that would excite me. Also, same thing as Wiley, seeing those traits translate. It would also obviously excite me to see him, like with the first team, blow the top off of a defense. I doubt you're going to see Reed give him that chance to line up in the slot, see if the safety tries to cover. And have you ever wondered why it's Brian Cook, like in every one of these highlights? It's because Reed is incredible at isolating your safety and saying, hey, Worthy, you ran a 4-2-1, right? See that guy? I want you to start off like you're running towards him. So that way he can't flip his hips. And then you're going to run that way, and he's not going to be able to keep up. And it works a lot. So those are the two things that could excite me. But one, really, it sounds counterintuitive, but if they like give Worthy the Brown treatment, that actually would excite me more than almost anything else.
Here are the two routes you're going to see from Xavier Worthy. Again, similar to what Seth said from the boundary. Stick, drag, get off the field.
Yep. Yeah, how'd that stick look? Ooh, that was crisp. Yeah. Well done. Well, you're done now. But, Coach, you said the first quarter.
You're done.
Yeah. What do you think done means? Remember that time Patrick bleeping Mahomes wanted to go back into a game and I said, no, you need to go get an x-ray? Do you think you are going back into this game? And he'll say all that with just moving his mustache a little. And that's the incredible thing.
One mustache hair can contain hundreds of words. People don't realize that. It's actually it's also his play sheet is mostly up in there. Let's go to the defensive side. I'm gonna wait until you guys fire off your thing because I think I have a pretty obvious one and a pretty weird one that we will all, I think, perhaps be excited about. Nate, who do you want to see on defense in the preseason? Who's going to show you something?
The only one that I'm going to say, so it doesn't inhabit or doesn't get in the way of either one of you guys, is I tweeted it out, and by the way, I appreciate KCSN for the promotion, but I gave it to him, guys. So that means he's good. I don't put this tweet out a ton without my own scouting eye telling me we found him. Jaden Hicks looks the part, kids. Yeah. So now it's time to see it. Now it's time to really see it because he is very traitsy. And as we've said before, he's learning just about every spot from the safety position that you can have in Steve Spagnuolo, which is usually like 4 positions When you think about the dime, the nickel, obviously the two safety spots that you would normally, obviously strong safety and free safety. He has
Say the word hybrid. Say the word hybrid.
He has a little nickel in him. He has a little hybridness to him against tight ends. So I'm just saying, if he can guard Justin Ross and do it effectively, he looks the part. So Jaden Hicks is my top candidate for Saturday.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I don't know if there's a way to quantify this from camp, and so maybe this is a part of him that has to show up in the game. But I have no reason to doubt this for Jaden Hicks, to be clear. But the mental aspect of know everything, be ready for everything, look at everything. I just watched the match quarters video that Cody Alexander.
Cody.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I remembered match quarters and I could not land his name. Sorry, Cody. A great little 8-minute little.
He's amazing.
Trip through some interesting things that the Chiefs have done with their safeties. I mean, and it's way more complicated than that. We've talked about some of it, but I watched that finally today. I've had it open in a tab for like a week since you tweeted about it, Seth. And the idea that, hey, Jaden Hicks, welcome to the NFL. You've got to be able to do all of that. Like, to be out here, and it even, and I hope that we did a good job contextualizing this at the time, it even contextualizes Dan Sorensen, where it's like, listen, man, you may not have the gear, but you can do all of these things and show all of these things. It's one of the reasons that this defense is so much fun.
Hussein Abdullah.
Hicks, yeah, absolutely. I love Hussein Abdullah. He never achieved like fan least favorite status like Sorensen did. But that Hussein Abdullah like year and a half or something. Magic.
Excellent player in that, like built for Spag's scheme. I'm sorry that I interrupted you though.
No, you're good. But so if there is a defensive breakdown at any point really throughout the game, I'm gonna be interested to get the best camera angle we can. Are we gonna get all 22 from the preseason?
It's gonna be real grimy.
Yeah. Okay. So I will be curious to see if we can figure out that the rookie there forgot what his assignment was or misread something. But man, that's really, really, really hard to pinpoint when we don't have the answer key. But that's something you can get tested on. Seth, give me somebody not named Jaden Hicks that you're excited to see.
Oh,
you can expand on Jaden Hicks if you'd like, but we've only got about 7 minutes left.
For me, excited is kind of the wrong word. I'm really excited to see George Karlaftis play in a real game, right? I want to see, has he taken that jump to really good guy to low level dude? We want him to be, that's right, Nate, dude is back. And we need that dude. And so, has he? It'll be impossible to say because
we're not going to find that out on Saturday.
Yeah. And so much of what makes Karlaftis valuable is how well he executes Spags stuff. And Spags is going to be like, it's preseason. Engage 8. Why not? Coach, it's 1st and 10. Yeah, I know.
I don't even
we're just
know
having fun. Hey, Hicks, blitz from the boundary corner. Like, what? Why would you,
Nate
so he's
may
going to
know
have fun.
this. I don't think you will, Seth. I don't know this. I'm about to do something that's going to be really informative about how enjoyable Saturday is going to be.
Okay.
I'm going to go look at the Jags quarterback depth chart.
Please don't. Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I do know who the number 2 quarterback is. It's Mac Jones.
Yeah, it's wild.
We get to see the Jaguars' debut of Mac Jones before C.J. Beathard comes out and cleans up. We know who those guys are. We've seen those guys playing NFL games. This is great. Saturday's going to be a blast.
What's one of the fun things about preseason?
Eater.
One of the fun things about preseason is when high-level backups or guys that have been kind of fringe starters just light teams up.
Carson Wentz is like a low-key, like, honorable mention for me.
Yeah,
for that exact
Carson Wentz may, like, if he's playing, and I think they value Wentz. I think he's a very high-level, talented backup, obviously. Yes. And so I'm guessing they won't do it, but it would be because, I mean, you put that guy in with a bunch of, second and third stringers, he's going to light people up, assuming what always becomes funny in the preseason is the second and third teams, especially the third teams, offensive and defensive line, there's always an incredible mismatch one way or the other. And if it's the offensive line, then what you see is about 7 yards a pop on the ground and guys just standing there surveying. And that's how you have wide receivers everyone freaks out about. Oh, he scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. It's like, it's because the quarterback stood there for 20 seconds, dude. Or you have like snap, hit. And it's brutal to watch.
Like the league needs to step in when that happens.
Yeah, like where it's really, guys, we got to put a stop to this. Will you please? Like, you can almost picture the coach calling the other coach, man, could you sub in like your fourth string? This is ugly.
Ugly. Hey, man, I'm gonna bring 2 tight ends on the field.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna run a little power. Okay. Just
enough. Let's all escape from this life. We get it. Your guys are better. But the guy that I excited's the wrong word. I'm intrigued and a little nervous is FAU.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be, in my opinion, obvious.
It's him versus the ball, really, right?
It is.
I didn't mean for that to sound as mean as it did, but the way you both reacted immediately told me that it came off that way. But it
really is. I've never seen anything like it.
Nate is out of the frame.
It's like when Chuck Knobloch couldn't throw to first. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Like, Nate's gone.
My point there was because FAU was my first one to pick there as well. While Nate,
are you saying FAU looks like he never played organized football before last year?
It's like the reason that so FAU, bad.
Every rep that FAU has will be telling because the logic behind my scathing take was that the tackle is going to matter less than the football does because the get-off has been the specific problem.
He's shown he can beat blockers, even high-level blockers, and that's what I want to see. If his get-off is 2/10 of a second faster, because they're real slow.
Let's be honest. 5/10. Like,
half a second faster.
Half a second, okay?
You see a functional guy, rotational guy right there. He is him and Kingsley are like my 2 first, because again, you can look at the trenches first. And so I'm nervous because in year 2, there's not a lot of stories where a guy went from a total non-contributor to a good player like in year 3. That just you usually see a sizable jump in year 2 if you're going to get it. And so we'll see.
Okay, who does the Chiefs broadcast? Who does the play-by-play for the Chiefs?
I think Ari Wolf on the TV.
Ari Wolf, that's right.
Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being alongside us. We know the Olympics are on. I'm Ari Wolf with Trent Green. Trent, what are your keys to the game for the gentlemen who are trying to make the roster? Get off the ball, Felix. It's right on the screen.
And you know that they've obviously have to be. And he's not a bad athlete. I don't understand it.
Great athlete in the grand scheme of things.
That's fair. And even for what he's doing.
Hey, Trent, what's your second key to the game? Now, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people are going to learn about this young guy from Wales, Louis Rees-Zammit, former rugby player. Don't die. That's my key to the game. Don't die out there, Louis. Stay alive.
For the love of God, Louis, keep your pad level low or you're going to get just lit up. That is
lost
good.
Nate and reasonably and appropriately. So, Seth, I'm going to, with a straight face, tell you that I think we should talk about Neil Farrell.
I want to talk about Neil Farrell.
Will Neil Farrell get snaps in a preseason game? Because
Neil Farrell
last year until they traded for him.
Hand on a stack of Bibles. Neil Farrell, FAU as the clear one, and Neil Farrell as my backup dark horse option.
Write that down.
Absolutely. We'll write down what? My hand on a stack of Bibles?
No, that Neil Farrell, because I didn't include him in my Chief of the North newsletter thing, and I want to write about him. And for all the reasons you're about to say, you go. I got to write this down.
They traded a draft pick for him in division, and they didn't add literally anything to the defensive line except for a couple UDFA defensive tackles. So I am not under the impression they're going to be making a fight for the roster. And we've talked about this, Seth. When Neil Farrell's been on the field, it's first of all, it's when did Danny Shelton get 3 inches taller? Don't quote me on that. I don't know that's accurate, but it's what it feels like.
That dude's thick.
It's like, oh, Alan Bailey, welcome back. Just an enormous man. You go, oh, that feels like that could be useful, especially when and no offense to Mike Pennell, who had a great playoff run and everything. Yeah. Great postseason.
Because he was fresh.
Right. And so if you're telling me that Mike Pennell needs to play 21 weeks of football for you this year. I would like to have some guys behind Derek Nottie, fresh off the PUP list. Like, there is room for snaps to be taken there, I think.
Yep.
They saw something from Farrell, and I haven't seen anything bad from him with my eyes. We just haven't seen very many snaps from him. And so the level of competition thing is where I'm hanging my hat there, because even if he's only out there in the second half, which will drive me a little crazy, I think that he might make a third string center or a third string guard look pretty foolish. And I want to know if that hype train gets some coal.
That's what you're watching for. That's 100% what you're watching for. If they make guys look pretty foolish in the third and fourth quarter, that's how you can say, okay, maybe. Right? If they don't, that means probably not.
And for a comp, like, I think Malik Herring was one of those guys years ago, right? Where he stood out a little bit late in the preseason.
Hey, yep.
How many snaps did Neil Farrell play last year for your Kansas City Chiefs, Josh?
25.
It's shockingly 41 snaps.
All right, I'll take it.
41.
How many of those came against the Chargers? Do you have that? In week
I'm looking through. This is according to Pro Football Focus. He played 13 snaps against the Chargers in week 18. His big game. His big game was against the Chicago Bears, 22 snaps.
Yeah, he played. So I mean, almost all of those snaps. I'll do the math and
then he inexplicably played a couple snaps against the Ravens in the AFC Championship, didn't he?
Let me look that up, kid.
I'm trying to remember.
I'm looking at regular season right now. Let me do postseason. So in the postseason, he played. It's on here. Let me
I'm on Pro Football Reference too, just to give us some different things because sometimes they vary a little bit by percentages and stuff. But
goodness gracious, he had 4 snaps against the Baltimore Ravens, according to.
And the only reason I know that is because they had a stuffed run, because I was kind of looking at, everyone talks about, hey, man, the Baltimore Ravens really screwed up by throwing the ball so much, even though their quarterback is supposedly the best one in the NFL and the second best, player in the entire NFL. We definitely should have run more, because that's what happens when your quarterback's the best in the NFL. You shouldn't pass too much. Anyway, I'm salty about that. That's dumb. And I like Lamar Jackson. He's a great player, but that's dumb. That's objectively dumb.
I know we're 4 interruptions deep now, but Neil Farrell played 6 snaps against the Minnesota Vikings, and that was the only other regular season appearance he had outside of the
It's baffling. So he played. So I was trying to figure out what happened on the snaps they were running the ball, because one thing I pointed out to people is, outside of like 1 4th down conversion where there was a blatant hold on Tershawn Wharton, they didn't have that much success running the ball. And one of them was a stuff where I was like, holy crap, what a snap from Nottie. That's Neil Farrell, where he just did not move, just stonewalled. I think it was the center, might have been the guard, went nowhere and completely just swallowed up 2 gaps. And I was like, what? That seems like it would have been valuable the week earlier when Josh Allen was ramming the ball down your throat repeatedly. I don't know. It seems like a guy that can't get moved might have come in handy at that point. So I don't know. That makes no sense to me. So that's a really good one. Good enough that, I don't know if you can see, I slapped the Post-it on the computer.
Yeah.
We're adding the name.
Finally getting an executive producer credit on a Chief in the North story. Neil Farrell's Pro Football Reference page has him listed at 6'4", 325. You guys want to give him
in your bra
pounds? Right? I mean,
you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That's a 90s joke that doesn't belong here.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you. Anyway, Neil Farrell in high school might have been 6'4", 235 or 325, but I don't know. I don't know that I'm a great judge of Danny Shelton was listed at 6'2", 345, by the way, so
yeah,
my 3 inches taller Danny Shelton might be about right. I don't know.
Yeah. So look,
there you go, guys. So the line of this game, what are you going? You going Chiefs and the points? I don't know what the line in this game is. But guys, score over. You know what? No.
Over under Neil Farrell snaps.
We should do score predictions and because it could be anything. And you know it's gonna be a weird number. They're not gonna kick every extra point if it's close in the fourth quarter. I'm gonna say Chiefs 18, Jags 12. I don't even know how they get there.
in a rain delay that the game was canceled in the third quarter.
Is that what the score of the Hall of Fame game was?
I don't know, but I just know that like you add Florida weather in early August, you could get anything, guys.
Anything. I'm going 18-12. It's the War of 1812 in my pick. Seth, what's the final score?
Chiefs 29, Jags 32.
Whoa!
I've
Jags
never
win.
predicted a Chiefs loss before. This is my opportunity in a game where it literally doesn't matter.
And Seth says, go to your favorite sports book and put it all on the over. You heard him.
Yep. Now I'm looking
Nate, I need a
here.
score from you.
I'm looking here at last year.
Wait,
last
you can
+1 on
gamble
DraftKings. Thank you,
preseason
Tucker.
game?
Of
You can
course
gamble
you
on
can.
preseason games?
course you can.
Guys, look.
Stay
We have
away.
sponsors, don't we?
Stay
Never
away.
mind.
Not right
Stay
now.
away. Look, I'm looking at last year's.
That is degenerate stuff, man. That is
I'm
like
Hey, dude, I can hear you, okay?
that is
I'm right here.
drinking alone on a
here.
Thursday afternoon stuff, guys.
Hell yeah.
That is
Hell yeah.
No,
what's your name, girl?
You know,
What's your
listen
name,
to my
girl?
tone too, Nate.
But I haven't tasted this beautiful football flavor since February.
Yeah. Hey, you want to? Hey, can I buy you a drink? I'm totally.
I paid $7 for Gold Zone, Seth. You think I'm
Gold
gonna put
Zone!
$7 on the Chiefs +1?
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I'm on
look.
the money line. I don't need this.
Yeah, how long you been traveling around this neighborhood? Well, I've only been looking for this drink for so long. It's been
Tucker
5 months.
At 6 p.m. on Thursday, Tucker just said in the chat that we have here, I have a beer in my hand that I'm sending you lines. This is a direct attack at me.
Yeah.
It's Tucker D. Franklin, and we've always known the D stands for degenerate.
Degenerate.
Get us out of here.
Degenerate. Look. So I'm looking at last year's score line. It was Saints 26, Chiefs 24. Guys, I remember the Chiefs offense didn't score in the first quarter, and people were freaking out.
Rightfully, I think.
It was
Ultimately.
14-0 Saints after the first quarter, and Derek Carr looked amazing. So anything could happen, ladies and gentlemen. Anything can happen on Saturday. I'm gonna go 17-16 Jags. I don't know.
Haters.
What I do want though is here's my prop bet. Over under 8 targets for we trying to trade him Sky Moore. 8
Man,
targets.
I want that for him. I want their first drive to be. I want them to hit the over on that on the first drive. I want because some scout is going to be watching that and see his releases. He's got great releases, and they're going to be like, "Huh, that's a really nice release there."
8 targets.
Clearly, they clearly haven't developed him. Did you know that they had a first-time wide receiver coach last year? I mean, maybe they just didn't develop him. Maybe that's the problem. He was a second-round pick.
He just might need a change of scenery. Hey, coach, I'm good, right? I can take my helmet off. No, you want me to go out there again? Coach, it's the third quarter. No. We're just trying to develop Ian Book. Oh, okay, coach.
Final stat line: 11 catches, 272 yards, 4 touchdowns. Sky Moore, preseason week 1.
Seth wants that for Sky Moore. I want that for the Chiefs.